Hello Electroheads, Eilis here, and today, from the comfort of my own back garden, I'm going to be filling you in on my pick of my top ranking electric bikes that I've had the pleasure of testing. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I live and breathe electric bikes. I'm really lucky to be able to try new models out on the regular, and so today I want to share with you my all-time faves. I'm also going to let you in on a wicked little gadget that helps you keep your home and your very expensive purchases like I have behind me safe and sound whilst you're both in and out of the house. So keep watching. But before we go any further, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Go on, hit it, because if you are into electric vehicles, electric bikes, electric cars, scooters, you name it, we are here for it, and we are making fresh content on the stuff every single week. So don't be the one to miss out. Let's get to it. First up, I had to kick things off with the electric bike that I use every single day. It's this one right here, the Tenways Seago 600. So since its first debut in 2021 as a very successful crowdfunding campaign, this e-bike has caught a lot of attention thanks to its sleek, lightweight, low maintenance design. It's a perfect sidekick for daily commuting around the city and getting you from A to B in a much cleaner, far more enjoyable way than in that 2-ton SUV that everyone loves to drive around town these days.
What's the point?
And unlike a lot of e-bikes with the bigger, bulkier batteries slapped onto the frame, the Seago 600 at a glance doesn't even look electric thanks to the battery being integrated beautifully into the down tube of the frame. Now, that not only means that you can smugly beat everyone at the traffic lights with a swift start, which, by the way, never gets old, but it makes it less of a glaring target for thieves. But hey, thieves will see a bike that looks decent and they'll usually go for it anyways.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Well, Tenways have come up with a really smart solution that renders the bike completely useless should it get to that point. When you turn on the OLED display, you're required to input a 4-pin code that tells the electric assistants it's time to wake up. So you can set that code to be any combination of numbers you choose, meaning if someone doesn't know the code, they're not going to be able to use it. Tenways was built off of the passion and expertise of bike enthusiasts, and when you hop on the Seago 600, it really does show. The mechanics of the drivetrain are smooth as butter. It's also got state-of-the-art torque sensors, which means that every time you pedal, there's a precision strain gauge that measures the amount of force you're using at around 1,000 times per second. Meaning, the harder you pedal, the more assist you're gonna get, and it adjusts to your every move in real time. The only real comparison I can equate it to is like having a bionic extension of yourself. You just have to try it to know it. And remember how I said this e-bike is low maintenance? It's kitted out with puncture-resistant tyres, a rust-resistant aluminium frame with a beautiful paint job, may I say, and runs off as a single-speed carbon belt drive. Belt drives are not only far more durable than a chain, especially when they're carbon, they also never need to be lubricated, and Tenways are so short of their gear, they guarantee 18,600 miles of carefree travel. And so far, so good. And some of you might be thinking that with it being single speed, it's a downside. And I did think this too, but thanks to the electric assistant and smart torque sensoring, you really don't miss gears. And don't forget, there are way fewer fiddly moving parts that you get with gears that are prone to needing repairs. Oh, and yeah, by the way, this can manage a hill. Who's got an electric single speed? Come on, back me up here, people. Get down in the comments, let me know. They work.
I don't believe you.
A few gripes about this bike is that I didn't get a kickstand because this happens more than I'd care. It doesn't have a cargo rack, which would be handy, and the mudguards make it look a little bit less cool, but despite that, for a total price of £1,499, I think this e-bike is a winner. I use it every single day for over half a year, and I am still in love. If you want to find out more about the Tenways Seago 600, you can check out my full review right here. But for now, let's continue to bike number 2. But now I want to quickly just press pause on talking about my favourite e-bikes to talk to you about that cool little gadget I mentioned earlier. So we were contacted by SimpliSafe to try out their new home security system, and it was a no-brainer for me. I'd been looking into getting an alarm system in my home as I keep a bunch of different electric wheels here. So they sent a system over to me and I was able to set it up in just under an hour, and I've been using it ever since. I've got a load of cool different parts like sensors, cameras, you even get a panic button, and there's even a little device that is tuned to listen out for the frequency of broken glass. It's all very tech. For me, because I live in London, obviously burglaries happen, so this really does give me peace of mind. That is loud, and that is gonna stop any burglar from stealing your things. Now, if you're thinking of maybe getting something like this, perhaps you have an EV out the front or in your garage that you want to keep monitored via the outdoor or indoor camera system, or maybe you've got your own e-bikes yourselves. I don't know. This is a really fantastic setup if you just want to have that extra little bit of security when you're in and out of the house. Well, anyway, thank you SimpliSafe for sending all of this kit over. If you want to find out more and if you think this might be a bit of you for your home, then I'll make sure to drop a link in the description below. Now, that's the end of the sponsored content. On to the rest of the video. Next on my list is the Mycle Classic, this white one right here. It is a sub £1,000 electric bike that not only looks great, but it's hugely practical and a joy to ride about town. And that is what I call a perfect package. If you've not come across Mycle before, they're a British brand who are here to redefine what affordable electric bikes can offer. They've actually got a foldable right here, this green one, and also a mountain bike on offer as well at competitive pricing, which you can check out, but it's the Classic that really stood out to me. And that's because of a few things. Now, firstly, I love the aesthetic that they've gone for. That retro classic shopping bike design that was achieved by cleverly integrating the battery into the seat post. A few colour options are available, but I went for a white coat complemented beautifully by cream tyres that really screams to the basic inside of me. And the step-through frame makes it easily accessible and far more inclusive to individuals with mobility issues. And the Dutch-style handlebars means you've got a lovely upright riding position that makes for wonderful handling. And the basket is perfect for nipping to the supermarket or heading down to the park with your baguette and strawberries for a delightful little picnic, because we all do that. Must see.
I am French.
Mycle have kept their price point on the lower end of the scale, but they haven't compromised on comfort. I was pleasantly surprised. Its ergonomic shock-absorbing saddle really soaks up the bumps in the road. And it's got some wicked safety features. On the rear wheel, Mycle includes an Eilis lock, who, by the way, have the best reputation for quality and reliability. And
technicality.
You can also remove the battery/seat post in a flash. So if you need to lock up your bike outside, you have that added level of security. Now, the downside is that it does weigh in a heavier 22 kilograms, and unlike the Tenways, you'll need to give the chain and gears some attention every now and then. But should you ever need a service or repair, Mycle has UK-based workshops manned by local engineers. So you've got the security of knowing you don't need to ship your precious ride to distant lands to get a once-over?
Does that work?
If you want to find out more about the Classic or any of the other Mycle e-bikes available, then click the link above and check out a full review, including an unboxing, rider experience, and some great scenes of a sunny winter's day at London's e-mobility heartland, the Olympic Park. E-bikes are such diverse creatures. In the few years that they've become mainstream, there's been an influx of rides of all shapes, sizes, and performance. But when you really simplify it, it comes down to just 3 categories. Cue the Venn diagram. On one side, you've got the bike that is specifically designed to do a job and does it oh so very well. The tool, you might say. On the other side, you have the e-bikes for fun, the cafe cruisers and mini bikes, for example. And then there's the overlap, where form and function meets unbridled delight. And this next bike is all of that in one, the Mate X, a punchy, cushy statement of an e-bike that makes you feel like a solid part of the traffic's tapestry.
It's almost like poetry.
Did I mention this bike is comfy? Those fat tyres combined with front and rear suspension makes British potholed roads feel like you're rolling over clouds. It's incredible and so addictive. And the larger padded handles spreads out the pressure of your upper body weight so that you could ride past the point of the battery dying if you wanted to, or even could get to that point.
Okay.
But this bike is hands down the comfiest of the bunch that I've ridden, but it's definitely not the smallest or the lightest. The Mate X weighs a whopping 30 kilograms, so you want to be treating it more like you would a moped than you would a commuter e-bike. And it is an eye-catching number, particularly with all those amazing colour options available online. So personally, I wouldn't want to leave it strapped to a lamppost for any length of time.
I wouldn't recommend that for anybody.
Personally, I just take it out for a nice ride, a cruise around town, absolutely fine, and then I just take it back to my house where I'm very lucky to have a ground floor and a dedicated space to store my expensive bikes. If you are in that kind of situation, then this is a great bike to consider. This beefy boy can be available either with a 250 or 750 watt motor with up to 50 or 60 miles of range respectively. Now, I spent my time with the latter and I was mad impressed with the power. Unfortunately, in the UK, a 250 watt motor is the max limit for an e-bike. Any higher and you've got to register and tax the thing. All in all, if it didn't weigh so much and had a bit of extra security for leaving it on the street, then I would hands down have my own, but that hasn't stopped the swathes of owners I've seen on London streets. If you want to cop your own, we have an affiliate code with Personal Electric Transport, our mates who are based basically sort of northeast London. If you just go online and you enter the code Electroheads at checkout, you get 5% off. As a city girl who is always looking for space-saving options, this list would not be complete without a folder.
Oh my God, that was so funny!
There's some great options at varying price points in the market currently, from the Mate City to the Rally Evo to the classic Brompton Gone Electric. But because we're talking about the best of the best, the creme de la creme, for me, I have to pick the Gocycle G4i. The Gocycle brand has become a leading force in the e-bike industry. Founded by a design engineer from McLaren, Richard Thorpe combined his experience in designing lightweight racing car components and fine-tuned engineering to make the Gocycle range we know and love today. I'll admit it's not the best looking bike, but now in its 4th generation, the G4 lineup packs decades of R&D and a whole load of smart design. Come to think of it, Gocycle are basically like Tesla of the e-bike world, only less prone to falling apart.
What you want, son?
So what made the G4i stand out to me? Well, as with most of these e-bikes, it's all down to how good it feels to ride. The ride quality is second to none. And unlike most folding bikes that have a cramped geometry, the Gocycle has been designed to have the exact same touch points as a full-size bike. The wheelbase, saddle, and handlebars are the same distance, so it doesn't feel like you're riding something smaller and therefore less stable. But you're still getting the folding bike benefits. And all that R&D I mentioned has fine-tuned the G4 Drive, a shockingly small, near-silent electric motor and gearbox packed full of torquey goodness. And thanks to the patented clean drive system, you don't have to worry about your bell-bottom jeans getting caught in the chain, sprockets, gears, or the dreaded oil. All the mechanics are enclosed neatly inside the chassis of the bike. But best of all is the predictive electronic gear shifting. You heard me right. As you slow down, the gears shift down and vice versa, which is the absolute necessity you never knew you needed and is perfect for stop-start traffic. So in short, there is a bunch of really cool features to this bike, and there's way more that I just don't even have time to get into, otherwise this would be an incredibly long video. So you would think with all of that in mind, this would be a pretty weighty bike. Oh no, this comes in at 16.6 kilograms. That's astounding.
It's unbelievable, Jeff!
It just proves that this bike is dripping in race car heritage. This is a bike that is designed for a purpose and does it so very, very well. And every time you hop on any of the G4 lineup, you know you've got a little slice of e-bike history betwixt your legs.
Poetry.
But the one downside is the monstrous price. But of course, it was never going to be affordable. Oh, no, 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 no. This bike comes in. And last but by no means least is another incredible e-bike from an equally incredible Cali brand. Super 73 straddles the fence between e-bike and motorbike. It's got all the inner workings that make this a classified pedelec, but the look and feel and force could make you think otherwise. Of all the Super 73 range, I had to go for the ZX, and it stands out to me as the creme de la creme because it just has that spark, that something. It just makes you want to get outside. It makes you just want to leave the car behind. It just makes you want it.
Okay,
And that's why the brand has done so well. They've built off the joy of electric that we bang on about here at Electroheads, and they've made it appeal to a wider audience. Their first head-turning moment online came off the back of a video in 2017 when they dressed up their bikes as Star Wars pod racers and rode around Manhattan. It's all about having fun, and that still resonates to this day. There's a huge modding subculture in the e-bike world, and Super73 encourages their customers to act on that self-expression with custom upholstery and strapped on speakers and anything else that they can think of, and that is a huge draw. But if you're like me and haven't got much of a DIY bone in your body, then you can still be a part of the Super73 club. It doesn't need any extra bells and whistles to blow your socks off. The 615 watt-hour battery powers the motor, capable of outputting up to 1,300 watts of peak power. And it has a removable battery. That is a big tick from me. It makes it so much easier and safer to charge on the go. And should the time come that you would need to replace the battery and get a new one, well, the replacement is easy as pie. The seat as well is also very comfortable, so you can conquer longer rides without a saddle sore by the end of it. Plus, there's also some really cool extra features, including an app that helps deliver over-the-air updates to keep your ride at peak performance, and a turn-by-turn navigation that is displayed both on the app and in the LCD smart display. Whether you're an avid e-biker or completely new to this world, there is something in this e-bike for everyone, and I think it's gonna stand the test of time as other e-bike brands come and go. So there you have it. I think you've heard quite enough from me, and remember, this is all of my own thoughts and opinions based off of my own riding experience. If you have a firm favourite of your own that's not on this list, then drop a comment down below because I want to hear all about it. And yes, there's still a bunch of e-bikes that I'm yet to try, so all of your suggestions of what I should try and ride next are oh so very welcome. As ever, thank you so much for watching, and I'll meet you in the comment section. See ya.